So X, I think X and X, Twitter, and Reddit. No, X, LinkedIn, and Reddit are the three platforms that you have to. You can choose one of them. You don't have to do all of them. But X, Twitter, or X, my bad, X, LinkedIn, and Reddit are the three platforms that can make you really more successful in your career. Being for me in the right order would be LinkedIn, of course, because it's cringe, but it works. Then X because it's fun, and there's really smart people out there. And then Reddit, but Reddit is hard to grow. It's really hard to grow there. But once you grow, it's like it lasts a lot. It stucks there. So we're gonna focus in the same format. So I would encourage every one of you right now to go and check your LinkedIn and have a like a I don't know 5 minute um, read on it and write. Let's write down what we think we can do to improve our like if you don't have a picture, if your description is not the right one. And I'm gonna put here what you're gonna put in your description. So in your description, you're not gonna say your resume. Forget about that. When you are in public, you're not going to be putting your resume everywhere. What you're gonna put in your bio, it's what you can give others, what you offer to others. So for example, in my case, in my description, what I put is like if you follow me or if you become my like digital friend or whatever, you're gonna be more successful in your tech career. That's what I say about me. And then obviously I put my projects there. I think that's it. Just put your projects and what you can offer others in 5 words. So I'll show you my LinkedIn. And I know that you're not here for this, but again, I don't want to just give you some content. I want to make you successful in what you're doing. So I think it's worth taking some time to rethink your picture bio, and then we can move on. So I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes for that. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes for that. To go to your LinkedIn, to your profile, put a better picture. If you don't like it, put your bio, and in your bio, you're gonna answer what you offer others, what you offer others, and what are you building or doing. That's what you're gonna be. What you offer others and what you're building or doing. So let's just do that together, please. Let's work on that together. So it's 6:10. So at 6:11 or 6:12, we can come back. If you have any questions, just ask. That's why we're in a Google Meet and not in a YouTube channel. And by the way, if you're not very good at something, you for example, let's say that you want to project yourself as a software developer or as a vibe coder or something. You can say that that's what you are doing. It doesn't have to be that you're an expert in it. So you can say what you want to be as well. Like don't complicate it. Don't make it complicated. So what we're doing, Austin, is since I was just saying that we want to make this group that is very intimate and that we are very successful. So one of the things that helps a lot when you're learning is to learn in public. It will make you more motivated because people will interact with you. We're gonna hustle together. We're gonna be in a group everywhere. We're gonna be in a grouping in Twitter or in LinkedIn, and that's gonna help you learn a lot more. But at the same time, it's gonna boost your profile. So I just gave everyone 2 minutes to update their LinkedIn bio, stating two things: what you can offer others, Like for example, in my case, I put an example here. I'm gonna put it again of what I offer others when you follow me. and what projects are you building or what are you doing. Don't put your resume. I don't care what is your degree. No one cares what's your degree. No one. So don't put your degree there. If you have a PhD and you really want to brag about it, just put PhD in a little letter at the end, and that's fine. That's good. And then I guess Michael's idea, it's great. Let's just share the here right now the LinkedIn profile so that we can follow you as well. Okay. Now that we're here in LinkedIn, another thing that I encourage you guys to do is to join some vibe coding communities. If you do a search, and I'm going to share my screen now so that everyone can see it. If you do a search on LinkedIn on vibe coding, you're going to find posts, groups, community, companies, people, jobs, whatever. So here, groups is what matters. As you can see, there's a couple of groups already growing. And the amazing thing about these groups is that they're so early, right? We are so early in the vibe coding group. So any group that you join and you start sharing, everyone will pay attention because it's only 10 people, 100 people. So it's not, you're gonna have an effective message. That doesn't happen with the other careers. So I encourage you to look for groups on vibe coding. I'm gonna share here the link and join some of those groups. Right? Okay, now that we just finished that, another thing that you're gonna do is that when you should find a place where you're gonna be posting, like, because you're gonna build in public, right? So the most effective way to build in public is not to sit down in the morning and think what you're gonna publish today. That's not how it works. It's as you learn, right? So every time you have an idea or an epiphany or something that you actually it clicked when you're building a website with vibe coding, on when you're building a product and you did a trick that really worked, you're going to share it with the world right there, right? But since you want to be smart, you don't want to share it with the world at 3 a.m. when everyone's sleeping, right? So it is really important that you have a simple tool that is very cheap. It doesn't have to be a complicated one, where you can just schedule what you have, and you're gonna come, you're gonna schedule it, and that's it. That's it. You're not gonna bother about it again.
And actually, you can schedule them on X as well. So if you're using X, for example, and LinkedIn probably, but if you want to have everything in the same place, maybe that's a good way to do it with a tool.
Right. I know that there are tools like Buffer, that it's very simple, that it lets you. I don't know the pricing of it. Like it's look, it has a $5 for, well, it's only one channel though. I don't know, but yeah, just do your what I use is Typefully. I think Typefully is surprisingly amazing, and I think, let me see what's the price for it, because I don't remember. We're gonna see the price. Typefully price. Yeah, it's not the most like a cheap one, but yeah. So this one I think it's great because well, it will let you, when you're writing a post, when you schedule it, it will let you choose where do you want to publish it. I don't publish everything in LinkedIn. Obviously, LinkedIn is my like for longer formats. So not like every single thought you have can be published on X, but not on LinkedIn. So yeah, and then here it lets you choose what audience you want to pick, and these audiences are super cool. We're gonna talk about that next. Yeah, that's it. So okay, every time you have an idea, publish about that. Even if it's a bad idea, it doesn't matter. Just publish what you're doing, and people are going to care. People are going to care a little bit because they want to. If they're vibe coders like you, they also want to get excited about vibe coding. So when you share that you learn a new thing, they will reply, "Oh yes, I learned the same thing," or whatever. So it's really important that we do this. and I'm taking time for this because it's important, because it makes you a better learner and it helps you in your career. So the next thing will be X. So we're going to do the same now for X. So you're going to go to X. If you don't have an account, I encourage you to open one, and you're going to go and into your profile, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put what you can give others, what you offer others, and what you're working on. It's like, for example, in my case, here's my X account, and Rebuilding Tech Education will help you build a successful tech career with 4Gigs. That's it. Like a simple. I don't need many characters. It's very simple, and then you can put like a bunch of links of what you want. And I actually have a little reading that I want to give you that I wrote on how to be successful on publishing on Twitter, because there's a technique that is very effective, and I think it's cool to grow your audience there while you learn, right? So give me a second to publish it, to share it with you guys. Right. Okay, here we are. Okay, so here it is. This little guide, I think it's better if let me bring back the conversation here. Here it is. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to explain it in a second, and then you can just read it later and apply it yourself. So here's the trick. You're going to come here to Twitter. You're going to look for vibe coding in communities. So here in communities, there's like a bunch of communities, right? You're going to look for vibe coding communities. Like, for example, this one. Where is it? This one. This one has 3,000 members, and you can see quickly. One of the things I like about communities is that you can see quickly how active they are. Like 1 hour, there was someone here. 6 hours, so it's not very active. Like 3 times a day or something. Someone published, or like 10 times a day. It doesn't matter. And there are other ones that are more active. Like, for example, I think the most active one will be this one, Built in Public, and you can see that this one has like 26 seconds ago, 38 seconds ago, 40 seconds ago, 1 minute ago. So here's a lot of people sharing what they build. So that's great. It will help you as inspiration, and others will comment on what you're doing. So when you're about to publish something, you can choose which community you want to publish into. So that's great because it brings you visibility. So you're not going to be sharing with your followers. No, you're going to be sharing to that community. So everyone on that community will read you. And I think that didn't existed before in any social network. And that's super, super great, because now you have like a way to publish interesting stuff that people can follow you. And there are so many great communities in Twitter, like vibe coding. There's 2 of vibe coding that is great. There's one for Cursor. This one is very, very active, the community for Cursor. We're going to be using Cursor. So as we speak, Tomas is going to create Cursor accounts for you, free Cursor accounts. So Tomas, I don't know if you did that already.
I need you to give me access on the Google admin.
Yeah, let me give you access to that.
Let me send you again the error I'm getting.
The Cursor subscription, it's $20 a month. And since we are a recognized educational institution, we can provide you with a student account. That way you're going to be able to take advantage of your... Yeah, so give me a second. Because we're going to be using Cursor at the beginning. We can switch to other platforms later, but I do want to start with Cursor. Why do you think I want to start with Cursor? So, yeah, I'm starting with Cursor.
All right, perfect, Jaden.
Someone said something?
Sorry, it was me. I was replying to Jaden.
Okay. Tomas, when you're creating those users, in which organization are you putting them? Because you have to put them in the Forgeek Self Space organizational unit. Is that what you're doing?
Not yet. Let me get there.
I think that's what happened. That's why because we were trying to create them before the workshop, and it gave an error. But I think it's because of the organizational unit. So I want everyone to download Cursor, please. Download Cursor right now, because that's the one we're going to be using right now. Because Cursor is the most popular vibe coding tool in the world, and it's the one that it's the first one. It's the one that people in San Francisco are using the most. Windsurf is also great, but Windsurf is great since 3 months ago. Cursor is great since a year ago. So obviously the audience using Cursor is bigger, and I think it's worth Windsurf is worth trying and using it. So we're going to be using Windsurf as well, but today it's going to be Cursor. Okay. Today it's going to be Cursor. So download Cursor right now. I'm going to give you the Cursor link. If you don't have it, here's cursor.com. Just go ahead and download that, please. Download Cursor, and you're going to be using a different email though. You're not going to be using your email, because we're going to be giving you an email, because you have to use the student account.
Can you send me your emails here, please, so I can include you?
It'll be better if you look for them on
okay.
Yeah, because we have to make sure that they are on the course.
All right. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. The ironic thing about Cursor is that it's a fork from VS Code. Do you know that actually Windsurf is also a fork from VS Code? So that's how deep Microsoft is into this. They are the owners of OpenAI. They probably bought Windsurf through OpenAI, and they own VS Code, which Windsurf uses. So basically, they have their hand all over AI code generation and those type of things. I think Bolt. There's another vibe coding tool that is super cool. It's also a fork of Cursor, Volt. And in the meantime, while Tomas is doing that, we have a community here that we just created, because communities were nothing before, but now they are. So I encourage you to join Forgeeks community here. Apply to that one and join, because that way we can approve you and we can publish what we're doing. I'm going to be checking the community, obviously, because one of the things that we don't have is a way to communicate. We have WhatsApp, but that's open for everyone, right? So, and if you are a Forgeeks Academy alumni from the bootcamps, you have Slack. But the one that everyone will have, even if you're in self-paced like this course, it's going to be this one, the Twitter community. Here we're going to be notifying about the courses, and I'll publish everything I'm doing about vibe coding here as well. So join the Twitter, the X community here. I just sent the link. So going back to on how to be successful on X. Another thing I would recommend you is to start following people that are vibe coding like you. Follow them, because they'll follow you back, and that obviously makes sense. Then another thing would be to reply. So one of the things that I do, by the way, is that I come to the main center of the communities, like this one. This is not one particular community. This is all the communities, right? So I come here and I will sort this by most recent. And then this is people that just posted here. Everyone here just posted, like 1 minute ago, 1 minute ago, 1 minute ago. So these are people that will answer you if you do some replies to them. Like, because what I don't like in general about social media is that when you reply to someone, they will never reply back to you unless you replied a second ago. If you were a recent reply, because if the post was done 3 hours ago, and there's already like another 30 answers, no one's gonna reply back. So it's like you're talking to a wall. So yeah, the best way to get involved, I would say, is go through communities and then sorting by most recent, and then that's what you want to read. People doing the same as you're doing. People that are vibe coding or using Cursor or using Windsurf, and then seeing what you're doing and reply and support each other. And this really works. Like, look, this really works. This is Matt Belgrand. Matt Belgrand, it's one of the people organizing operations and directing operations at Windsurf. So he reached out to me, not me to him. And I don't have many followers. And the reason he did is because he's reading what I'm doing. Like, this works. And then that's how I got Windsurf to be in the past event. So yeah, I'm not gonna keep talking about this anymore because I think we're all here to vibe code, but I think it's worth giving public learning and learning in public a try. So let's just do it together and let's do that. Okay. So moving on. Today I said, and in the workshop we established that we were going to talk about the fundamentals. So the fundamentals for me are boring but important. Like, we cannot get in our hands dirty if we hit a bug and we don't know how to fix it. So who's not a developer here? Just tell me that. Like, say on the chat if you're not a developer, if your only background from coding was from the introduction that was posted on 4geeks.com. So Austin is not so what's your background, Austin? Oh, yeah, Python and machine learning works, by the way. Because you have some logical thinking there. But what about Austin? Business and sales? Okay. And what is your expectation? Why are you getting into vibe coding? Just so I understand that. You plan to automate a sales pipeline? I just did that, by the way. I vibe coded it. I can show you in another time how we did it. What do you mean by Jess? Like, that's exactly what you want to do? Automate sales pipelines? Okay. Yeah, the Spanish course is at the same time, but it's on Monday, on Tuesdays. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll try to customize a little bit Austin for less like coding things as well, so that we can work it together. But Austin, I strongly encourage you, if you didn't, to go and review the content that it's already there in the platform, because there is a link for a free coding introduction course, and I think you cannot automate a sales pipeline if you don't know the basics of coding. So try to go over the basics and learning at least like simple conditions, loops, and things like that, because that's what you're going to be using when you're automating, because you have a bunch of people that are selling in your company, and then you have to go through all of them. And the way to go through all of them is called a loop. And then the way to decide which salesperson will take like the round robin algorithm, that who will take care of which lead, that you do that with conditions. So yeah, like all of that is needed for automation and to be great at automating a sales pipeline. But yeah. So Tomas, let us know when you have created the emails, and then you can start publishing here in the chat.
Yeah, I just created the emails for those who've joined the course.
Okay.
They should have received an email asking them to reset their password and all that.
If you didn't join the course, you have I think a free trial from Cursor that it's gonna last more than you think. I think it's gonna last even like 1 or 2 weeks. I don't know. It depends on how hard you use it, but in general. Okay, cool. So going back. So let's go back for a second to the fundamentals. I want to go over something that is, like I said, it's boring, but I think it's It's so important. Like I really thought hard about what are the things that you really need to know, and like the basics of. Is this the right one? I think it is. I don't know. Let me just do it again. Like the basic stuff that you really need to know to be great at vibe coding, and HTTP it's one of them. So I want to give some seconds to talk about that, some minutes to talk about HTTP. Let's just do it. I think it's this one. Okay, great. Here I am. So here's mastering HTTP. And what happened with the other module, Thomas? You removed it. You should keep it.
The previous one?
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, let's add it as another micro course inside of it, like a pre-work, right?
Exactly. Add it like the vibe coding pre-work. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. So we're gonna split this next 10 minutes. We're gonna split it in the server, the client, and HTTP. And I'm gonna try to make it a little bit interactive. So I think it's important to understand that when you're building a website or a web application, that's what basically what we're going to be building. The typical bugs that you may find are always the same. This is actually like so boring. Like you will find the exact same bugs all the time. So those bugs, half of them, let's say, will come from the world of HTTP. And if you understand the journey that when you type a URL, let's say like when you type 4geeks.com, what happens the moment you type until you receive an answer and the website loads? I think that's what's here. Like we just incorporated that into the vibe coding course so that you can go over the contents. Basically, to explain it like in a very simple way, so that we don't take a lot of time with theory and things like that. What happens is that the moment I type this, I will arrive into a website, and this is called a GET request. So here you have, let me make a drawing of it. I think it's better if we make a drawing of it. It's better than the... Yeah, here it is. Okay, so the moment you type in your browser, like 4geeks.com, there is a middleman that we call a DNS server, and you will have issues with this, by the way. When will you have issues as a vibe coder with DNSs? When you buy a domain. Let me show you. You guys ever bought a domain? Have you ever had issues using a domain in a server? You can do a reaction or what? So Michaels, if you have to use that email to the email that Tomas is sharing, you have to use it to sign up into Cursor.
Okay.
And then obviously you can log in into your Gmail account. This is a Gmail account, right? So you can use it at Gmail as well. Just you need to have an inbox, because that way is how you know if Cursor was successfully validated. Yeah.
Well, then the way you should validate it in Cursor is on the link that I sent you. Okay.
Here.
So you click on verify. Exactly. And follow the process.
Verify status, and then it will ask you a bunch of questions. But you have to be logged in with your account already, with your Cursor account already, to verify status, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so validate it while I speak about DNSs. Has someone who doesn't understand, who has never linked a domain into a DNS? Like what I'm about to show you, let me show you what I'm talking about. When you buy a domain, because you want to launch a product, you have to log in into a domain. Please do not use GoDaddy. I know that most of you probably have GoDaddy. GoDaddy is the worst domain vendor you can imagine in the world. I don't even know. It's like this. Yes. When you buy a domain in GoDaddy or somewhere, the one I like is this one, Namecheap. You have to then point it into your server. So, for example, let's say that you have a Vercel account. I encourage you as well to use a Vercel account. Vercel is a free hosting. Let me see the Vercel pricing to see if it's still free, because I don't remember if it's still free. Vercel pricing. Or Vercel is how. Hobby, the perfect starting place. It's free forever. Yeah, amazing. Let's all use Vercel, okay? So open a Vercel account as well. I'm going to be sharing a to-do list here so that we can all make sure that we have this. Vercel. How long was it supposed to last the sub for Cursor? What do you mean by the sub?
The subscription.
Until we finish. Like, I don't know. I haven't made a decision about that.
Oh no, because it shows only 14 days remaining. That's the only reason I was asking.
I don't think so. I think you didn't validate the right way.
When we get Cursor open, do we import from VS Code or Skip?
I don't know. That's a very personal question. Do you want to import your settings from VS Code? I would say yes.
Yeah.
No, Andy, I think you didn't do it right, because I did the same and it's working. Tomas did the same and it's working. So, yep.
I got the email and I set a password, and then I went to the Cursor website, and then I sign in with that email, and then, well, not with the email. I sign in with the Google.
But you
Using
should also go through the link that I sent and verify your student status. Did you do that part?
No, I didn't see that email. Let me double check.
Okay. No, it's not on your email. It's right here on the chat. I'm gonna pin it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you should have already Cursor validated as a student. You should have a Vercel account.
I still haven't gotten the email.
Which email? Your email?
Yeah.
Tomas? That's one?
Yeah, let me check.
Yeah. Okay, but if you want to move on, whoever is already done, open the Vercel account as well, please. And then let's let me just finish explaining this about the DNSs, right? Like, once you have the domain, you have to, if you want to point it to Vercel, you have to come here into your Vercel account, and then you're going to create a new project, like a website or something. And then when the project it's created, here in the settings, here's where you actually not in the settings, my bad. Here in the domain section, here's where you add domains. Okay, you can add an existing domain, and you can choose to which project you want to, let's say to this one, for example. Select the domain to add your domain project to add your domain to, and then it will ask you about the DNSs. Let me see. Come on, man. Just do it. What's happening here? Yeah. What domain do I want to use? Like, let's say I want to use Courseback. So it's gonna add it for me, and then it's gonna say, okay, you have to configure this domain. And here, this is the part that I'm talking about, the DNS records here. So if you don't know what DNS is, then you're gonna have some time struggling about connecting your domain and stuff like. But it's very easy actually. The DNS is a place where your domain is hosted. So let's say like this one, and then when you buy a domain, if you click manage, it will show you here your name servers. Look, here's where you set them up. I have a custom DNS. So these ones are from AWS. You can see here, AWS. But I can change them. I can come into Vercel, and copy this. And I can add an A record here. And then I go back. And then when I go back, where is it? Here. Okay. When I go back, I can just set the A records. And the A records, I don't want to set them to this, but I have a domain that I'm not using. I think it's this one, Rigobot.ai. Yeah. You know, I am. Let me see if I'm using that one. Rigobot.ai. No, I'm not using it. Cool. So here I can just say, oh my God, wait. Custom DNS. Yes, it's not here actually. It's in Vercel. When you have a domain that already exists, like this one, here, exactly. Here you can set where do you want to point this. Let me find one that the ones from 4Geeks, for example. I have them here. Domains. So here are my domains. So this one, 4Geeks. For example, when I created, or LearnPack, this one, yeah. You can see here that there's a subdomain here, app. It's a CNAME. CNAMEs are when you want to set subdomains. So when you type app.learnpack.co, the domain is the right part of it. So learnpack.co. And then the subdomain, it's also called a CNAME. And the CNAME is what you put. You're saying, I want app to direct or to forward to this URL. And why is this so complicated? Like, why do we need these tables? Because servers don't understand anything that is not an IP address. So going back to my explanation here, you have IP addresses. You buy a server, let's say in Amazon. Here's your server. You bought it, and you buy an Amazon server, or you buy a Vercel server, or a Google. I don't remember what's the name of it, but in Amazon is EC2 server, Vercel server, or Netlify, or whatever. Any hosting company in the world, even if it's like one of the old ones, like HostGator, that many people know about it. These are like the old school hosting vendors before everything got modernized. So when you buy a server for one of these places, they give you an IP. So you cannot do anything with an IP. Can you imagine giving your IP to your mom? Doesn't make any sense. So what you say is that you buy a domain, like for example, mydomain.com, and then here you tell the domain where to point. So you're saying, if it's a domain, you're going to say the A record, it's an IP. It's an IP address. And then when you set an A record, and here they are, look, I can just here type A, type CNAME, whatever. You have to choose one of these. And I have never used ever nothing that is not a CNAME or a record. That's it. MX is for emails. So it's just CNAME and A. That's it. So if it's going to be an IP address, it's going to be an A. And if it's going to be something like this, that is horrible, the actual value of this is huge. Look, this is the actual address of this server. Look, it's Aerodynamic Tyrannosaur, whatever, Heroku DNS. It's from Heroku. That is another hosting vendor, Heroku. So yeah, I'm going to put here Heroku because it's just another possible way. Heroku. There you go. HostGator or Heroku. So if it's an IP address, then it's an A record. But if it's another domain that is huge, like a horrible other domain, then it's going to be CNAME record will be for horrible other domain. So yeah. So like, for example, like this one that we were just seeing, like this is a horrible place. You don't want to give this to your mom. She will not be able to get into that website. It's never going to be able to type it. So what you do is that you create a CNAME. You create a CNAME, and then you point it to your domain. And that's how it knows that if someone comes into my domain, they really want to go either into this IP address or in this one. And this is what we call a DNS redirection. So that's it. That's what I want to say about DNS redirections. Then another thing you need to know is that when you type that, how the package will fly, the browser will send it to a server, and the server will have to get that file from somewhere. So when you put like /about, let's say that you're in a website and you put forgeeks.com/about, that it probably doesn't exist, but whatever. The server is going to try to find a file. And then if it doesn't find it, it will return a 404. You are going to have a lot of problems where this is important. For example, today we had that issue. Look, I'm going to show you a real life case. I got a message from the teachers, I think it was here, saying, here it is. I got a person saying that they were trying to load a lesson from the platform and it was not found. Look, it's giving an error. It's in Spanish, but it's an error. And we didn't know what was happening, right? Like, why? That lesson exists. So what's the problem? So when we checked, I actually went to that lesson and I was able to get into it, let's say, and I opened this on the right side of the screen. I opened the network and I find out that when the lesson was loading, I was getting a 500. That's what I was getting. So look, this lesson is Deep Dive into Python. Welcome. And here on the right, you will see that somewhere I'm requesting that lesson. Let's see. It should be, I think, either this one. No. This one here. Look, it's the same. It starts with welcome aboard. No, here it says welcome aboard. So this request here is requesting this text that is going to show up. So this was broken. Right now it's giving a 200, but it was giving a 500. So it's really important that we understand these type of interactions if we want to be good vibe coders, because when we encounter bugs, we have to check, and it's not hard, it's very easy. When we encounter bugs, we have to check the status code of the things that are being used at the website. And probably we will find some red stuff here on the right, and that's the beginning of your debugging. Because the way that Cursor works, or anything, any vibe coding platform, the way that they work is that they do so much so fast that it's hard to keep up. Let me give an example. So I'm gonna now, let's do a new project. I'm gonna create a new project. Let me create a repo for a second, and then I'm gonna here new repository, and then I'm gonna put here delete me. I already exist, so delete me too. Great. Create a repository, and then from here I'm gonna create a new project. Okay. Clone thing here. I'm just gonna put in any folder.
In this section here?
I'm sorry?
Should we follow you in this section here?
Not really. I just want to make a point. That's why I'm doing so fast. If I want you to follow me, I'm gonna be super slow.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna create this right now. I just want to start a new project right now. Here it is. So this is the beginning of any project in Cursor. You're gonna have on the right side of the screen, you can open and close the chat panel. You know what? I would say I'm gonna take the opportunity here to ask you to follow me, because that way we get familiar with Cursor at the same time. So that was a great question, Michael. Let's just have everyone follow me. I'm gonna start again, and that way we can create our first project with Cursor. New window. So here it is. Here's my Cursor. And you have 3 ways of starting a new project. You either open a folder, you clone a repository, or you connect via SSH. My recommendation, since we have people here that don't know anything about coding, I would say open a project, right? But first we have to create it, right? So I'm gonna create a folder in my computer. I'm just gonna open the Finder. I'm gonna grab a folder that I like. For example, in my documents, I'm in downloads, I'm gonna create a new folder, and I'm gonna call it Vibe To-Dos. I'm gonna create a to-do list, for example. And then now that this folder is here, I can just click Open Project and look for it. Vibe To-Dos. Here it is. Who's not following me right now? What I just did. Are you able to create a folder and open it, please? Great. If anyone's stuck, just let me know. Okay, cool. So after you open the folder, it will open like I was showing you. It will open on the left. There's nothing, and that's good. In the middle, that's where your code's going to be. And on the right, that's where your AI or the AI agent is how we call it. It's going to be. So here, if you don't see it, just you can open it here in toggle the tab pane. The AI pane, I guess, is how they call it. And let me take some time to explain this as well. We have 3 modes here. And everyone has an opinion, and you're going to find videos saying something different. So let's not be very like drastic about this part, but I don't use anything rather than the agent. I don't like chatting with it. I don't like manual stuff. I just like agent. Because chatting is for asking questions. So usually I just tell the agent not to do anything. I ask a question, and the agent knows that I'm not trying to do anything, so it doesn't go ahead and do it. But if you're scared that it's gonna thought that you're maybe you're asking something to the AI and it's gonna start making a lot of changes, you can just switch to ask, and it will never do that. I think this will go away with time. The ask and the agent, it will just be agent, and that's it. So agent. Then second thing here, it allows you to choose your model. So for choosing the model, you can click here on the settings, and you want to go here to models. And my recommendation would be right now, because this changes so much, but right now is to stick with these models that I have here. So Cloud Sonnet, Gemini 2.5, ChatGPT 4.1, and O3. Those are the models that I would recommend you to do. And then we will learn, like you have to learn how each one is better than the other one. And this changes a lot. In a month, it will be different. So that's us of today. A month ago, it was Cloud Sonnet 2.3.5. Now it's not anymore. Okay, cool. So these are the models. Then the features. The features that we want are almost the default ones, but I do make some modifications here. So one of the modifications that I want you to do is I do want you to allow the agent to run tools without asking for confirmation. So this one here. Let me make it bigger so that everyone can see it. I do want you to allow the agent to run tools without asking for confirmation. And the reason this is important is because agents are so efficient that they do so many things that if you don't let them, they're going to keep nagging you. Like, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? It's like when Windows was trying to be secure by asking you for everything that it was going to do. Do you remember that era where Windows was always telling you, like, I don't know, you want to play an audio? Did you allow Windows Media Player to play this audio for you? Like, it was so annoying. So the same, you don't want the same effect with the AI. You want the AI to just be allowed to do things. But if you ever encounter a problem that the AI it's doing too much stuff that you don't want it to do, you can have here a deny list or an allowed list. The chat settings are here on the right. You see what it says open cursor settings? These are not chat settings, are cursor settings. Okay, cool. So features. I wanted to choose allow agent. And then the second thing is, let me see, Boy Copilot, enable cursor task suggestion in comments. I like all of that. The default chat mode is agent, obviously. Enable auto run mode. We already did that. Large context is make sure it's enabled. This is really important. Large context. It's really, really important because as your code grows, you want the AI to still be able to manipulate the code or to read the code. And if it's growing too much, the AI will just not read it anymore because it's a large code base and it will not do it. But if you keep this on, it will still do it. And maybe you're asking, why would they have a configuration like that? Who will want not to use large context? And it's expensive. So some people rather not do it. Okay, cool. What else? But it's not very expensive right now. Don't worry, you're not gonna hit any limits yet. Autocomplete drift, custom modes. Play. I also like this one a lot. Play sound on finish. I think this one is important because what happens to me is that I forget that the AI is working and I wish to go and have a drink or have a coffee. And then I never come back because I forget. Because now this is how it's gonna go. The AI, it's going to do so many things that it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit. And you want to be notified when it's done, okay? The full context option is here. It's in the settings. Let me update my cursor because maybe... I'm so sorry about that. I didn't have the latest version. Let's wait for it to reopen.
Yeah, I don't think that either.
So it's reopening now. Let me see if they removed it. They make so many changes that it's crazy. Let me see. So auto-run is still there. And you're right. Large context is not here anymore. They made it default. Cool. Okay, I was saying play sound on finish. So enable that. Play sound on finish. Enable web search tool as well, please. Because if not, it's never going to go and do some searches on the web, and it doesn't make any sense. If enabled, drifting the composer will be accepted once they are no longer in the work tree. Okay, auto accept drift if there's not. This is another important one. Docs. You're going to be using third-party things, a lot of them, and an LLM knows how React or how JavaScript or how many things can be done. It's trained on that. But if you're using a new library, like for example, Zapier, just to customize my teaching for Austin, you're probably going to be using either Zapier or NHN or one of those tools, right? So these tools are new. Zapier is not new, but it's kind of new because it makes so many changes in the products that it's not the same Zapier as 2 years ago. It's like a new version of Zapier. So when you have something like that, you want to add the documents here. You want to hit here, add docs, and incorporate the documentation for that particular tool that you're using. In my case, and in your case, I would suggest to add Supabase. Let's go ahead and add Supabase. Everyone, Supabase is free. It has a free tier. It's not like it's free, but it has a free tier. So how you're going to do it is that you're going to go into the tool that you're going to be using. It's called Supabase in this case. Here it is. And you are going to look for the documentation. Here it is, the documentation. So docs. And then you are going to add it into Cursor like this. Add new doc, and you're going to paste the URL here. Okay? You're going to paste the Cursor, the Supabase documentation URL. And then we will be doing the same for other tools. By the way, Austin, if you want to automate sales, I did it with browser use. That's what I used for automating part of the sales operations that we have at 4Geeks. It's still a work in progress, obviously, but browser use is an amazing tool for vibe coders because it will allow you to automate a browser. So you can just tell an AI, do this, do that, and the browser will do it for you. So that's great because you can just, for example, you can tell the AI to go to whatsapp.com and start sending WhatsApp messages to everyone, and they have no way, WhatsApp has no way of blocking this because it's not through the WhatsApp API. No. The WhatsApp API, they will just block you instantly because they don't want you to be spamming anyone. But if you do it as a browser use, it's a browser, so it's a human. You're behaving like a human, so they have no way of blocking you. Well, they may block you if you send too many messages, but they will still do it if you're a human and you're sending a lot of messages. So yeah, here I have two documentations here: browser use and Supabase. We're gonna be adding more later. Cool. I think that's it. That's it for features. And then let's talk about models. We already talked about it. Cool. Let's talk about rules. So rules are super important. I'm gonna upload into the platform a lot of documentation about the rules. But the rules are very, very important because that's how you make the AI to be aligned with you. The only thing you can do to have an AI aligned is to have rules. Because you're used to doing everything in one prompt. That's how we work today. Let's say, for example, I want to do a to-do list. I would say, if you don't know anything about coding, about vibe coding, you would say something like, I want to build a to-do list application. By the way, you don't know anything about models, so you're just going to use the default one. So let me just have here the default model. How do I make it default? It doesn't allow me anymore. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to use the auto here. There you go. So now it's going to choose the model for me. Okay, cool. I want to build a to-do list application where I can create a to-do, check when mark it as done, and delete it if it's and delete it. Well, let's see what happens. Boom. Great. Here's a high-level plan for you. So it's doing a plan for me. So that's great. This didn't happen before, but this is not enough. Just so you know, this is going to be a crappy, shitty plan that is not going to work. But let's just try it so that I can prove my point. Core features. Create a to-do item. Mark to-do as done, undone. Delete to-do. Questions. Do you want a web app in React? Next, yes. So that's another part that I'm going to also upload some information about that. You want to choose technologies that LLMs already know. And this is going to change the way that the world of coding works. Nobody cares anymore about new libraries that much. Because a new library is not, an LLM doesn't know it. So who cares, right? There's a solution for that. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But it's hard as well. Like Supabase, by the way, the LLMs don't know Supabase, and they have managed to be a $2 billion company without LLMs knowing them, and they are a coding tool. So imagine how crazy is the Supabase story. LLMs don't know about it, and the LLMs are still very good at using it. So there's a solution for that. I'm going to talk about that, but let's just finish this part here. So yeah. Choose your tools. You're gonna have to choose tools that LLMs use. So something you can say is that you can have. By the way, a good idea when you're vibe coding is to have another tool like a chat, like a very powerful chat by your side that is not Cursor, because you want to have second opinions. It's the same as a doctor. Like when you go to a doctor and they tell you something that you don't trust, you go ahead and do a second opinion. So that's great. I like to use right now, today, this week, Grok. We'll see next week. But right now, that. So I would just tell Grok which technology is the most commonly known by LLMs for coding a to-do list. And that's how I would answer if I want that. So he's telling me JavaScript, well, obviously JavaScript. Yeah, so React, and that's it. And this one's using Next. What about Next? I do know that Next is very publicly known and LLMs know it. So I would say yes, but I'm showing you how I would do it if I don't know it. I would actually like Next. So I'm just gonna say here, yes, let's do Next. Should the data persist using a database or local storage? Yeah, he's asking me how I want to store it, and the way that I would do it today would be with Supabase, because it's very LLM friendly. I don't want to tell it to use Postgre in your local computer or anything like that. Forget about databases. Databases are not going to be ideal for your case. The only way you can vibe code your way without having a lot of bugs or without getting into technical stuff is to not use a local database. You have to use an online service that provides databases. It's the only way. And the one that I like the most today, this week, is Supabase. So I would say here for database, we are using Supabase. And then I like React. And next, what else is asking? Any preference for backend? Yeah, no preference for backend. Well, don't get too far. Like either Node or Python. Don't become crazy about choosing a backend. The same happens, right? Like languages are gonna merge, and there's gonna be only a few languages that you can. And I know for a fact that the best vibe coding platforms out there that actually promote doing everything without coding, they use Python or Node. That's it. They don't get crazy with Java or anything like that. Typical stack for a simple web app, front end, back end. Yes, everything else is right. I'm just gonna say everything else is okay. When you're choosing styling, choose Tailwind. That's a great tool for doing front end. Cool. So now it's gonna do it for me. Let's see what happens. Front end. Oh my God, are you gonna do it or not? Let's have a plan for the tool list using Supabase as the backend. Okay, cool. Proceed. Let's start with Supabase setup. It's creating a table for me now in Supabase. It created Scaffolder React app. It created a React app for me. And then, wait, install Supabase JS client. Okay, cool. Connect React to Supabase. Okay, where are my files? Where are the files? Where are the files? What? We're having like an issue now. Let me see. It looks like there was an issue with bytecoding directory. This is due to a temporary error on the path issue. Could you please confirm that React has already been created inside Vibe Tools? It's not here. Let me see. Unless, yeah, there's nothing. It's not here. Thanks for clarifying. So you see how it's trying to run this command? It's not actually running them. Oh, it's telling me to do it. Oh my God. Okay, I guess I'll just hit here, apply, and it should do it for me. Yes, but we have to fix that though. Like I don't want to be doing everything myself. That's not ideal. Okay, so there you go. We have some files already there. I think I'm just gonna tell it the files. Yeah, well, okay, let's just move on. Okay, once you're done with this, let me know. Okay, I'm done. And then npm run dev. But the files were created in a new folder. I wanted to keep the old folder up. Come on, man. Okay. No, but are you telling me to do it? No, I don't like this. Stop it. I'm just gonna switch. Do you see how it doesn't work? This auto thing, it doesn't make any sense. we're gonna be using Gemini Pro X. Okay, that's the one we're gonna be using. That's the one that is great today. The hell with this. I'm just gonna delete everything and start again. Okay. But wait. Let me go to the previous chat because I don't want to be chatting. I wanna get my previous new chat. Current chat. Build to this one. Yeah. I wanna summarize what you did in a prompt so that we can get that prompt and use it with Gemini. Okay, you're just using the initial plan. Okay, here it is. Okay, great. No. What prompt will you use to build this? Give me a simple prompt. Okay, this is what's the amount. Okay, here it is. Develop a to-do application. Okay, here it is. Here to-dos. Connect this with this application. Implement the front end. Okay, great. This is it. So I'm just going to start again. I'm going to delete this. And we go again. Hopefully Gemini works better. Okay, I can help you develop the to-do list. To start, you need to set up the to-do tables in your supervised project. Nope. You set it up for me using NCP. So what's NCP? NCP, I can help you with that. You see how it's calling it now? Let's talk about this. This is the last part that I wanted to talk about today in the settings. Let me go back to the settings. Remember that we stopped at rules, right? I haven't explained rules thoroughly, but I want to explain NCP because it's a good opportunity to do it. So what's NCP? NCP is a way, it's called Model Context Protocol, and it's a way that we have to interact with third-party tools like Supabase. So what this will do is that it will, you know, do you remember Avengers, the scene where Iron Man was using Jarvis? I think that's the best way to explain it. When it was using Jarvis to find, I don't know what he was trying to find, but yeah, well, look, here's even a video talking about real life Jarvis. So NCP is a way where now, finally, AIs are able to interact with the outside world without needing any training at all. They don't need any training for that. So let's say that you have Zapier on this case. Zapier is an automation tool. Let's say that you have Gmail on this side. Gmail. And let's say that you have Cursor on this side. So who's Cursor? Your agent, right? Cursor is your agent. So Jarvis, right? Cursor / Jarvis. So what you have in the middle now, before, or not before, but until before MCP existed, you had something like ChatGPT that was an LLM that had to be pre-trained on Zapier and Gmail in order to know about it. So they would have to actually feed a lot of information to ChatGPT before it can be used, and this is all called pre-training. And then when you start chatting with it, that is called post-training, but it's also called inference. So inference is when you start chatting with the LLM and it will give you some information back. That's called inference. And the LLMs can also learn from this. They can learn from the inference. How? By using memory. So, and that's how you know, for example, when ChatGPT existed, it didn't know anything about you. And every time you start chatting, it wouldn't know anything about you either. But now, if you don't want it to know anything about you, it's hard. You have to actually click here. It says temporary, and it will tell you, this chat, look, this chat won't appear in history. Use or update ChatGPT's memory, or be used to train our models. For safety purposes, we may keep a copy of this for 30 days. So what's telling you is that now ChatGPT and other models are able to learn from you. Now they are. And this is because of memory, right? And that was cool, or is cool. But then how do I train Cursor for Zapier? I would have to have like some sort of service feeding Cursor about Zapier. So that would require like custom code. That would require a lot of effort from a development team to feed information into Cursor so that no Cursor knows how to use it. So this is not an option. It is still an option, by the way. People use it. That's how that's how we train our agent Rigobot at the school. Here at the school, when you are in the middle of a lesson or something, it knows about you. And how it knows here, for example, it say, "Hi, Alex, welcome." And I can just tell it, I want to practice about Python, for example, Python loops, whatever. And it will know about Python loops at 4Geeks only. It's not going to recommend me any topic for learning outside of 4Geeks. So this one is about Python loops. So when I click on it, it's going to take me to 4Geeks, and it's going to take me to a Python loop exercise that I can just start doing right now. How do we accomplish that? With memory. We had to actually tell Rigobot about all the things that we have available. And it was cumbersome. It took a little bit, all the developers. But now, thanks to MCP, now you can have an MCP server, like a model context protocol server. And a model context protocol server is a little server that runs, that knows about 4Geeks, for example, or about Zapier or whatever. Who creates this server? Zapier does. Instead of feeding the information directly to the model, they don't do that anymore. They don't want to do that anymore. They want to feed it. They don't want to feed it anywhere. They want to have a server that will ask Zapier about things. So it's a middleman between the LLM and Zapier. And this is super cool because now the information remains in Zapier. I don't have to move anything to Cursor to train it. No, I can just keep it at Zapier. And I just tell Cursor, from now on, if you want to use Zapier, just go through the MCP server, and Zapier will let you know what's available and what can you use. And that's what we have here. Look, we have Supabase, right? So what is available at Supabase? You can list an organization. You can get an organization. You can list a project. You can get a project. You can confirm costs of a project. You can create a project. You can, so many things, right? So another amazing thing is that Supabase with this NCP server is also able to put some rules. So for example, if today Cursor says, okay, Zapier or Supabase, create 3 databases, and you will just tell the LLM or Cursor in this case to do it, and it will know how to tell NCP to do it. But the problem is that you may be, for example, encountering some costs, like maybe creating 3 databases is going to cost you, I don't know, $5,000. So you want to put some rules as Supabase, because you want to tell the LLM, okay, these are the methods, but if you want to create 3 databases, you better first tell the user of the LLM that this would cost them some money. So you can put some rules on it, and that way the LLM will communicate pretty cool. So that's MCP. And another great thing, by the way, that it's important is that this server is running in your computer. NCP servers don't run on Zapier's computer, on Gmail's computer, even if it's a Gmail MCP server. They run locally in your computer. So who's paying for this? You are paying for this. You are paying for using the MCP server. You are paying for the LLM. You are paying for Zapier. Zapier is not encouraging in any costs. But when you did it the old way with memory, Zapier was the one paying for that. If I have to train Cursor with memory, I am the one paying as Zapier. So they found a way to not pay for things and have the user actually pay for it. And I think that's important because if we don't do something like that, first you have your computer is cheap. Yeah, you can run 100 servers in your computer. It's not gonna be very expensive because you're the only user in that server. If Zapier is the one running it, then it will centralize everyone using it to Zapier, to the Zapier server. So it doesn't make any sense. So this is running in a local computer in everyone's computer. So yeah, going back to what we were doing before, I encourage you to please to add Supabase as an MCP server. So the way to do that would be to come here and say MCP server Supabase. And then it will take you to this one here, and then you would choose Cursor here. And this is it. This little script enables Cursor to use Supabase. Okay, and you need a personal RSX token that you can get from your account here. So just make sure to replace so once you replace it here, just copy this, and then in Cursor you would click here, add new server, and you would paste that string here. That's it. That's all you have to do to let your LLM know or Cursor know how to integrate with Supabase. Any questions about integrating with Supabase and creating your MCP server? No? We're good? Okay, cool. So just know that I'll be uploading information about this as well. The lessons are already done, but we had some issues publishing of some 404s, like I was mentioning before. And yeah, we're about to publish them. Cool. So we have the MCP server now, and look, here the LLM was telling me, or Cursor was telling me that it was going to create the database for me. Let's see what happened. I can help with that. So from now on, I don't need to add Supabase anymore anytime. So maybe you're thinking, well, vibe coding is not as easy as I thought. But the thing is that Cursor will require some configuration at first, but then you will be able just to keep going after you configure it. And this is the first time you see it, so you're going to have to configure many things. But yeah, first I need to know which Supabase organization you're going to be using. So it's asking me for the Supabase organization. And it found something. Look, it looks like you have one organization. This one. Should I proceed with this organization? Next, I will list the projects in this organization. If you prefer to create a new project, let me know. Okay, I found following projects in your organization: sample project, Geek World, Learn Pack, and Capture the Flag. Do you want to use one of these? No, I'm going to say create a new project. Call it to-do list delete me. To-do list delete me. So now it's asking for cost. You see, look, it's telling me this is going to cost you $0. Okay, great. Amazing. And it's going to keep going. It created a project for me. To proceed with creating a new project, you'll need to either pause one of your 16 projects, delete, or upgrade. Okay, cool. Let me just do that. I'm going to go to Supabase now. And they're asking me to stop one of the projects to be able to create another one. So I'm just going to pause. Project is paused. Geek World. I'm going to pause this one. So pause. How do I pause it? I'm just going to tell it to do it for me. Pause Geek World for me. Let me see if it does it. Okay, I will pause the project. That's great. Okay, it seems that there was an interruption while attempting, so it's going to try to do it again. It is actually, you're right, Geekpod is still in the pausing state. We need to wait. Yeah, so we need to wait for finished pausing. But you see how powerful MCPs are now? Like, you see how I don't have to go to supabase.com anymore. I can just tell it to do things and it will do it for me. I can have an MCP server of my house. And I can tell Cursor, I can actually tell Cursor to stop, to turn off the light of the room. And it will do it. It's easier to do this with MCP than to use any protocol houses have today for smart things. Those smart thing protocols don't really work pretty good. They have been always like boogie. MCP, it's way better. So let's just do it again. Let's do it again. Maybe it's done. Another thing that is a fun topic, a curious thing to know. If you tell the AI if you ask the AI things with saying please, it will be more effective. But you know what's even more effective, according to Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, to threatening the AI. If you threat it, if you threat the AI and you tell the AI that you are gonna shut it down or something, it's more effective. This is true. This is not a joke. Even though it's funny, it's not a joke. It works. So if anytime you are trying to do something and it doesn't work, just be mean to the AI and it will work.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, maybe it doesn't work, but maybe it
That
will.
once, and then it timed out on me.
It turned down on you?
Yes. Shut down.
My God. Okay, let me see. Apply migration. It seems that there was an error. Let's check the status of the project to see if it's active. The project is coming up. Oh my God, these people. That's why it's free, because you have to wait so much for it to work. I'll check again in a moment. Oh my God. I don't want to just keep waiting this. Again. Maybe I just check in Supabase what's happening. So this was already paused. What about the other one? It's not even here. So release delete me. I think it's done. Again. Let's check the status again. Great. The project is active, healthy. Let's try applying the migrations. My apologies, I missed a parameter. Look, this is working. It's generating the files for me. So definitely, if you can take something from today's workshop, is that auto mode in Cursor doesn't work. Okay, so don't use it. Now it's scaffolding the entire project for me. Look, it's starting to generate. This is what we wanted, right? To start seeing some code. It's asking me something or no? I have supervisor role. I see. Now I'll create the supervised client. Okay, that's great. It's been created. Next, I will implement the front-end UI, fetch some to-dos supervised when the component mounts, display to-dos, provide a form. I'll start by creating the existing content. Great. Whatever, some styling. Oh, it's just working. That's why I said that sometimes you're going to have to wait. Oh, it's done. Ring the bell. After running that, you should be able to open your browser and the local address and show the terminal. Usually, okay, let's see. Apparently, it's done. We'll see. One thing I want to tell you, I want to ask you, do not click accept all right now. Do not. Wait, test it, and then you can come back and accept or reject, because if you accept, it's harder to fix it. So I'm just going to click here and see what happens. Yep, it's not even like running. So let's see what may be the issue. After running, no, I have to run it myself. Okay. I guess I run it myself then. So I'm just gonna open the terminal and here say npm, what's the command? npm run dev. So npm run dev. And it's running now. Yeah, 5173. So let's see. Here it is, my to-do list. Woohoo! Okay, let's see. Make the bed. What to do? Icon marker is done. Look how cool that is. And if I refresh, it works. Like it's persisting. If I refresh, it works. I'm actually refreshing and it's not being lost. And that means it's being saved in the database. I can actually check the Supabase database now. Here, if I click into the project and I get into the database, they have a section here for databases. Here it is, database, and here are the to-dos. Look, it created database to-do list here, And then if I hit on, I think it's here, it will show me my to-do, make the bed. There it is. So yeah, it created everything without much intervention. Well, all the intervention, if you're thinking that we hadn't much intervention, it's because you're still being overwhelmed by having to know what an MCP server is, what a model is, or to switch between auto mode or Gemini 2.5. But actually, if you think about only the part where we actually had the right model, we had the MCP server already connected, we had all the setup in place, and we only said do a to-do list, it worked in one prompt. So yes, vibe coding works and it can do things in one prompt, but if you set it up the right way. If you don't, what happens if you didn't do the MCP server? You would have to actually go to Supabase and do the manual database yourself here. You would have to actually configure this table, create the columns, choose the data types. See what I mean? Like you need to have the right setup in order for vibe coding to work. So that's why it's not something anyone can do. You have to study and you have to be good at it. So now I can go ahead and accept. And now I have my application. So I was explaining something before that brought me to this. I was explaining about, the rules. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the rules. So in the rules is how you tell the AI the things that you like. The things that you like, not the MCP server or third party, the things that you like. So for example, you can tell here, like if you're ever, like for example, if you are ever doing a front end, always dark mode it. That's it. From now on, everything is going to be dark mode. This is a general rule. And we're going to talk about later about specific rules, where you can apply rules to specific things here in your code base. You can tell, I don't know, when writing the README files, the documentation for the project, right? So you can have a rule saying every time that you make a change on the application, make sure to update the README, right? And today we did a small application, but in one of the other workshops, I want to do other things. Like for example, maybe we can have and do content. Maybe we can set up in Cursor everything to be able to write content, and that way we can have better posts on social media. Or maybe in another session we can automate a sales pipeline. Why not? We'll see how it goes. We'll see how everything it's working, all the pieces are being put together. But yeah, so this is the introduction. Now I want to get insights from you guys, because I want to make these workshops that work. I want to make workshops that you guys like. So what are your insights? Like, what things do you want to build? Just put it in the chat. What do you want to build? Nothing? A price scraper. From where? Tell me the... You can have the mic. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Hey, I was thinking to build a site to basically look prices on different websites and gather all that data in my website.
Okay. So if we're gonna build something like that, we go back we need to understand the architecture that we want to vibe code, right? Like for example, you're talking about scraping a lot of websites. So one of the challenges of scraping is, where do you scrape? Because nobody wants to be scraped. Like websites don't like to be scraped. So you can scrape on your laptop, and what happens is that eventually you'll be banned from the website, like your IP address. So you're gonna need and you're gonna need a VPN to switch what you scrape every day, something like that, right? You can do it as simple as that. The good thing about scraping is that if you don't want to scrape every single day, it's great because you're never gonna be banned because you can just scrape once and maybe in a month later you scrape again the same website. So that's great. But if you want to scrape in real time, forget it. That's the hardest project you can build today. The hardest. Websites will like actually be very aggressive trying to block you. And there are tools for doing that. Like there's a super tool that you can just have like a cloud that scrapes for you and gives you the information. You set it up in the cloud, but then you have to pay for that service, right? Like there are scraping services that I have used before, like give me scraping services that integrate well with an LLM, or maybe have an MCP server that I can use in Cursor. Let's see. Let's see what we get, because I strongly recommend you, man, do not scrape yourself or in a server that you buy. It's going to be banned instantaneously. So Firecrawl is a powerful web scraping tool that offers MCP server for seamless integration with Cursor. Firecrawl provides 100% open source MCP server, Oxylabs, ByteData, yeah, web scraping AI. There's plenty, apparently. Well, you would be impressed, like how many websites already have MCP servers. Yes, so that's what I just, like this prompt right here. This is what you need. Like what you need is to ask Grok, right? I would ask that I obviously want to have a friendly, everything from now on is friendly to the LLM, or because you don't want to be doing configuration yourself. That doesn't make any sense. So I would just go ahead now and I would say, okay, give me a comparison table including price and I don't know, limitations. And let's see what happens. So they have 500 credits, and then you have to pay for 12K credits, 50 limited time, open source MCP for Cursor, converts web data to LLM-friendly Markdown, support search for LLMs. Let me just make it bigger. How do I make it bigger? I cannot make it bigger. Okay, whatever. Oxylabs, web scraper API starts. So this one looks better because it lets you start with a smaller plan. Yeah, that's it. Like I don't want to focus that much on this, but that's how I would approach it. I would approach it with a service because you don't want to know about architectures and how the right way to scrape. Like it's a challenge that is really painful. So I would say, don't worry about that. And then you would just MCP it let me put it in black here. You would just have an MCP server, scraping server. And then you would have, obviously, you would build yourself the front end. So that's great. You can have your own front end. And then you scrape from MCP. And then I guess another thing that you need to know is where you're going to store that information. So maybe in Supabase, let's say, in Supabase, right? So you're gonna have to communicate MCP with Supabase somehow. So MCP from the service, right? The service. This is the scraping service. Scraping service. I don't know why everything's so small. Let me make it bigger. Yeah. Medium. Scraping service, MCP server. So from your backend, no, from the LLM, from your project, this is your project, Cursor project. From here, you will build an entire application that you will deploy in somewhere like Vercel, in a server. So you need to have a server, Vercel server, or AWS, or Heroku. Doesn't matter. You need to publish your application somewhere. And then from the Python code that you have here, from the code that you have an API here that it's going to communicate with the scraping service. But Cursor will be able, and I'm going to put it now in green, Cursor will be able to ask the MCP server the code that will be generated and put into your code base, into your server, that will then do the request. You see what I mean? Like, there's like two layers now. There's the layer that will actually be forever there. Let's call it the application layer. And there's the generation layer. The generation layer is in green. And the generation layer will take care of dealing with how to code the application. That's what it would do. It will code the application for you. And for that, you're going to be using things, NCP servers. And then you have the application layer that it's in black. That is what you deploy into a hosting provider. But that's what you buy. You buy and you buy a server and you publish it. We haven't published. Let me just finish with that because I don't want to make it so longer. I know that people have to go. We said it was going to be 2 hours, so it's 2 hours soon. So I'm going to publish this now just so that we can live in a happy emotional state because we were able to publish it, right? So I'm going to now publish. I want to publish my app into Vercel. Let's see what happens. The user wants to publish his app into Vercel. Okay, deploying. Okay, deploying Vercel is a great way to know. Here's how you can do it. No. You're gonna. I want you to do it. These LLMs, they don't want to do the work. A second, update the lowest claim, this environment variables. So you're doing changes? Yeah. Vercel will automatically detect the pull. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna set this. It created a bunch of files for me. And I think all I have to do now is just say the word Vercel. Because it's what's telling me here. Look, it's telling me to say the word Vercel. So I'm just gonna do that now. New terminal, Vercel. Deploy. Okay, I do want to deploy, so yes. I want to deploy it in my personal project. Yes. You want to link to an existing project? No. What's your project name? To-dos, delete me. Which is your directory unit? I don't know. So I'm just going to hit enter. That's it. It's publishing it. Let's see if it works. Deploy to production. Oh, so let's see it. It gave me the link. Look, this is my application. I'm just going to open it now. Open. Come on, work. Doesn't work. I think it doesn't work because, yeah, I forgot to put the Supabase credentials. So here they are, these two. We have to add, and this is something that we have to learn during the course, that when you integrate, remember that I was talking about here, generation layer versus application layer, right? So when you actually deploy, it is very sensitive. When you use Supabase, you are the one paying for Supabase, right? So Supabase will give you something called an API key. And this API key is like a big number, like a big, super big number. And this, if people know this, if someone else knows this about you, if they are able to get this word or this bunch of letters, they're going to be able to use Supabase on your behalf. So you're going to be charged on your credit card for their use. So it's very sensitive. So LLMs don't want to deal with that. They don't want to get involved in setting up those type of things. So they'll tell you to do it yourself. But the good news is that it's very easy. It's just this. You're going to go to every hosting provider in the world has a way to upload that. So I'm here in the project that was built. I'm here. So I'm just going to go to settings and I'm going to say environmental variables. And here I'm going to paste the Vite Supabase URL. And then I'm going to copy the key, the actual key on the value. So here I'm going to paste the URL for Supabase, and then I'm going to also make here the Supabase anon key, and then I'm going to copy this entire string as well. And I already tried to do that through an MCP server, and it didn't let me. It said, no, do it yourself. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I'll just do it myself. Thank you very much. So I'm just gonna redeploy now, and probably it works. Let's see. Redeploy. Hopefully it works. Okay. Come on, man. Work. Doesn't work. Let's see why. You see? Yeah, we were talking at the beginning of the class about how HTTP was really going to help you, and how you have to understand the interaction between front end and back end, like how HTTP works. And the first thing I did was opening the Google Inspector because I wanted to see if there was an error, and there is. So apparently the problem is not the Supabase key. We have a bigger problem. So I'm just gonna tell here, I'm gonna paste this error into the LLM and tell the LLM to fix it for me. Let's see. There's no requests here at all. Okay, I'm just gonna tell it that it's not working. Let's see what happens. Where is it? Here. Okay. Okay. The deploy works, but everything looks white, and this error is in the JS console. I think, no, I don't want to tell it what I think. I just wanted it to fix it for me. Let's see what happens. The user, blah, 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 routes, income base, config, versus build. Come on. It's analyzing the code to see if it can find something to fix it. It's grayish because it's reasoning. It's not actual answers. It's still reasoning. It's been reasoning for the past 23 seconds. Okay. The white screen failed to load. Browser is actually requesting a JavaScript file, which is often have a single page applications. If the server is not correctly distinguished, Vercel. Your Vercel has a standard SPA fallback. Okay. This tells Vercel blah blah. You have a byte config. Let's inspect. The byte config is the default and doesn't explicitly say about path. The Vercel JSON you have is also standard byte projects. This confirms confidential test person that everything is okay. Possible causes of your checks. Build, output, double check your Vercel deployment logs. Ensure byte build command. Come on, man. Given the byte config, what is the solution? Your source looks perfectly fine. Byte process. If your Vercel project settings dashboard, can you try redeploying with the Vercel CLI and checking the build logs carefully? Okay. Yeah, I can do that. But if you stop talking, let's try simplifying the Vercel just to only include SPA fallback. Okay, whatever. Yeah, try that. Okay, it's telling me to check the log. So I'm going to check the log in Vercel. That's very standard. So let's just check it to see what happens. Vercel. Where's it's in the personal projects. So let's delete me, deployments, build logs. Build completed. So yeah, it doesn't have any, there's a warning. Builds existing information file. Yeah, I don't know. You know what mistake I made, I think? I didn't tell the LLM from the beginning that I was going to deploy in Vercel. And when you don't tell it where everything, when you don't tell it the entire stack, it may omit some configurations. And it's not the same fixing it afterwards that doing it from scratch. Believe it or not, I did this project today twice, just to be able to prepare for this project, for this workshop. And it worked the second time, not the first one. So I guess the first one, it didn't work, and I know why, and I fixed it. And then the second time it worked, so I thought I had it. But I forgot about the the Vercel thing. I didn't tell it to do it in Vercel. So we're still having a problem deploying it. But yeah, I mean, the next time I guess I'll be more explicit and tell it to do it from Vercel since the beginning. Someone else said, for the last minute, someone talked about building a fitness app. Okay, so that's great. Fitness app. That's more standard. I think you're not going to have any issues with that. That's going to be great. And Michael is mentioning the build command. I think that may be an issue, the build command. I think you may be right. Maybe we fix it like that. Let me just tell that too. I think it's a great idea. Let me see. Can you add a build command to Vercel and see what happens? No, but not in the Vercel.json is where I want it. Let's see. Vercel typically determines the build command based on the framework. I know that. Okay, so it added it, and I'm gonna redeploy now to see. Let's redeploy. Vercel, maybe you fix it. Let me see. It's building right now. Wait, it's using a static build. Why is it using a static build? It's not supposed to be static. Let me see. Oh my God, I think that was it. Let me see.
We don't see your screen if you were sharing.
Oh, I know. I'm just trying to see if it gets fixed. Let me share again. No, it didn't work, man. Maybe I missed a message from the LLM. Maybe I didn't read entirely, like thoroughly, what it was telling me to do, and I missed a step. Here's the commit, Vercel. Here's where it added the configuration. Sub-base keys. No, that's not it. Commit and Vercel. Yeah, no, I think it didn't miss anything. And it's working locally though. Like if you do it locally, Vercel dev, I think that's how you say it. Let me see. Building for production, ready, and it's opening here. Let me see. I know, but I don't wanna. So Vercel dev minus listen, and I want to do it in 3001. Okay, it's the same thing, but I like that port. So 3001. Yeah, look, it's the same. It's the same issue. It's showing, and the code that is showing doesn't have Vercel. This is not my website. I know it is. Here it is. Opening a new tab. Let's see. Is this code real code? No, it's not. And what's the difference between that and npm run dev? npm run dev is working, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry that we couldn't publish the website, but it worked. So we're almost there. This is the time where you call your friend that is a developer, or you actually put your time on fixing this. But yeah, well, thank you everyone for coming. We're going to be uploading a lot of content on configuring Vercel, configuring Cursor, and HTTP as well. A bunch of things to practice HTTP. I think there's a project there that I encourage you to do because it will help you understand better response codes and things like that. And yeah, and see you next time. And let's do the work so that next time we can see each other and do great things. Just start using Cursor. Start making mistakes. Start using come with questions. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Alejandro.
See you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.